Today we're going behind the scenes with Doug Kramer. He's the Deputy Administrator of the Small Business Administration. Doug, thanks for joining us today.
Fritz, I'm happy to be here.
So small business, it makes up a lot of the economy, but what exactly is a small business by your definition?
Well, it varies from industry to industry. We at the SBA set standards for different industries because what might be small if you're a restaurant is one thing. If you're trying to compete in the aerospace industry as a manufacturer, it's different. So we set those based on an analysis of the market. But together, all of those small businesses amount to a very, very big part of the American economy.
Now, the SBA, what exactly do you do for small businesses? I mean, their loans. Tell me a little bit about the programs.
Well, we try to do everything, and we try to do it in a way where we support an ecosystem out in the private sector that is willing to go deal with small businesses. Because a lot of times, if you don't have a track record, if you don't have cash flow, it might be difficult for a small business to play in those fields. So one of the main things we do is we provide credit to small businesses. So we work with bank partners who make the loans, but then we guarantee those loans, take about half of the downside risk if a bank is willing to deal with a small business, and take away some of that resistance they might have to dealing with someone like a small business. We also help with contracting programs to make sure that when the federal government is spending money, they're the biggest customer in the world, that they're doing it with small businesses as well.
Well, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you about contracts, because you mentioned like aerospace companies and multi-billion-dollar contracts. Well, small business, the spec of that. How do they do that? You can help that out?
Yeah, we do. So under statute, federal agencies are supposed to spend in the aggregate about 23% on small businesses, and we're very proud that the last 3 years we've exceeded that goal. We did about 25.7% this year, and what that means, and you bring up a great example with aerospace. The Department of Defense buys big stuff, and it's not always the sort of things that small businesses can provide. So what we've helped them do is create supply chains, where even if you're not building the airplane, there are thousands, probably millions of parts that go into that airplane, and a lot of those are supplied by small businesses. And so we create an environment where those companies are incentivized to go find those small businesses so everybody hits their small business goals.
Now, you also mentioned about loans. And talking about banks, for example, you must have a way to know what banks are easy to work with, what they're difficult to work with, and what may be best for that small business.
Yeah, so we have a number of great lending partners who have worked with SBA for years to provide this sort of credit to small businesses, to take a little bit of that risk they might not otherwise take because they know that we'll be there to help them out. And we track those banks to make sure that the data we're getting back and their success and failure rate shows that they're being diligent about the way they make the loan. But we have a lot of preferred partners in our program that we make it easy to do business with SBA because we know they have a good track record with small business.
Well, Doug, thanks for joining us here today. Coming in from Washington, really appreciate it.
No, happy to be here. Thanks, Fritz.